I'm doing my best Brian Curley impersonation because it might be the only time we talk about the Georgia psychotic closer here right off the top of the pod. It was a week ago before he closed the door on Kennesaw State. Epic stuff at what seemed like a high school stadium as Kennesaw State redoes their baseball field as Georgia beat Kennesaw State 6-4 last week. I mean, that guy's major is psychology, and he put it on full display last week. Kyle Schassburger and David Kahn with you to unpack weekend 2 in college baseball. We got so much to get to. We got a new partner to unveil. We've got all of the showcase events from this past weekend to talk about. Box score bingo, a debut segment, if you will, that I think we'll have some fun with in the middle portion of the show. Our favorite displays of social media affection, SDAs, hat dudes, hat tips, all that. Look ahead to the week that was. Con, not only do I have my tongue sticking out for those of you watching, we are live on YouTube, I think. I don't know. I mean, hopefully everything's going fine. I'm waiting on a confirmation text. It is.
I checked.
Okay. At SportsCon4. I just learned I've been using the wrong deodorant my entire life. Okay. I'm just using purely deodorant to make you smell good. So maybe that's part of my, hygienic problems that I've been sustaining. You have to buy specific deodorant that is antiperspirant. Why is not every stick of deodorant antiperspirant?
I don't know. I'm just learning this right now live on the podcast, and I'm very concerned for my mental and just health overall. My mental well-being and my health in general, because I did not know that.
Yeah. Why would you create 2 different sticks of deodorant? Like, deodorant has one purpose, and that is to stop you from sweating. At least that's what I thought. So
nothing stops you from sweating. So that's
no.
That's the problem here, is that there needs to be extra strength deodorant to stop Kyle Schassburger from sweating. Normal deodorant will do the job for most anyone, but you, sir, you need a specially engineered, cosmetically created deodorant to stop you from sweating.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's intoxicating, as we point over my right shoulder, the amount of sweat that consumes my body, as was the second weekend in college baseball, as is the humidor. I can never say it right. I'm a cigar guy. I tried rehearsing this before we even hit live on the show, and I still butcher it. That goes to tell you everything you need to know about my life. But, if Tiger Balm wants to be a sponsor of the show, let me tell you, it is going to get me through the next couple of weeks like none other, because it is vaporizing my entire body right now, from my left shoulder that I can barely lift above my, to my ear level, to my right knee that feels shattered and broken and torn to shreds. It's going to be a tough couple of weeks for your boy. This is the caffeine binge starts in 3 days, Con, for about a 2 to 3 week stretch. So are you ready for this?
Oh, I'm beyond ready. First of all, this is the best time of year, right? We're talking college baseball while basketball's going on. You and I are on assignment next week. We're on assignment this weekend. We've got so many games to call, so many games to take in, to parse through, to just sit and entertain us, to stimulate us, to bring back your word from last week. We are, I'm just so ready. This is the greatest time of year. Let's go.
Well, let's get right after it, and let's go to Jacksonville. I think one of the biggest winners of the weekend was Alabama, one of 16 remaining unbeaten teams coming out of the weekend, and it goes with the theme of intoxicating, inspiring, the effort, the resiliency from some of these teams to come back from the jaws of defeat, from the purest depths of hell, and come back from the dead. And that was Alabama down 10-0, down 10-3, entering the 7th inning. They come all the way back to beat Ohio State 12-10. Thanks to the bat of Will Hodo.
Here's the 2-2 again. Swing, that ball's hit high in the air, center field. Bussey's back, turn it around. Goodbye, comeback complete. Bama wins it on a 3-run walk-off home run by Will Hodo. Unbelievable. 12-10, and the Crimson Tide will take home the crown for the 2025 Jacksonville Baseball Classic.
That right there is our Borgo Ball moment that delivered. How about it? Borgo Ball moment that delivered. That was Matt Davis of the Crimson Tide Sports Network spelling Roger Hoover, who was with women's basketball for the Tide this past weekend. Blake Bergogno and his 3 brothers, who birthed this idea last summer to mimic a baseball that was truly emblematic of the real thing, because we all know how fun it is to play ball in the house. And we do know, from time to time, things may break. But, hey, we've never been able to find a foam ball that can truly mimic and impersonate a real baseball when it comes to the spin, the rotation, whether you're trying to throw a cutter, curveball, slider, whatever it is in the house with your brothers, with your friends, whatever it may be, tap back into that old school nostalgia from when you were young. The Borgo ball is the way to go, David Kahn. I'm grateful, and we'll come back to Alabama, but I just want to roll out a sick new collab that we're going to have with the Burgonio boys here moving forward.
The Backyard Baseball Bros is their brand, and we're very excited to be working with them. We're gonna get some Borgo balls in our hands. We're gonna feel these raised seams here very soon. Blake has an order en route to us very soon. Can't wait to talk about this, but it's amazing because this is a brand new thing. It just was birthed in the last year. The first order of baseballs was just ordered and is already sold out in a month and a half since Blake actually got these balls. He's already getting another order in, so pre-order yours now, $20 for a 4-pack, and we can't wait to work with these guys. It's a great group of baseball guys, just good people helping other good people out, and we can't wait to work with them.
Yeah, their balls dropped last month, 2,000 of them. They sold 500 orders of these 4-packs. So they're already out. They're restocking. They're taking new orders now. Go to backyardbaseballbros.com for more information. That's where you can put in your order. Let Blake know if you see them on social media. Their handle, by the way, where you need to follow them, is at Backyard Baseball Bros. Wherever it is you social, but go online, backyardbaseballbros.com. That's Instagram, by the way, at Backyard Baseball Bros. The older brother is Brett. All of them playing college baseball. Blake played at Utah Tech last year. Brett, the eldest, all the brothers were going to his travel ball tournaments when they were younger. It took a stand to shop, kind of, a Major League Baseball type, let's throw a pitch type thing that helped inspire this idea for them throughout the years. There's Ty, there's Tatum. Tatum is the youngest. He's still in high school, won a California State Championship last year. And then Ty is currently playing at Long Beach State, infielder for the Dirtbags. So we'll talk more about Borgo Balls and our partnership, our collaboration with them throughout the year. But trust me, man, this is a sweet product. Raised seams. It mimics truly a baseball as much as you could without it being a hard ball, something you can use in the house, something you use to help train and tap into that nostalgia of being young and playing the house or however it is you want to use it. Whether you want to throw a breaking ball, street strike, all the seams make it possible on a Borgo ball. So that is our Borgo ball moment that delivered Alabama's comeback this past weekend.
Yes, it is. And Kyle Schassburger, do you remember last year in Hoover when Durangelo Sainja was on the mound and you and Gabe Genovese were broadcasting and you were just doing all the different arm angles every time he was pitching and Gabe couldn't keep his body straight? That's what Borgo balls reminds me of, because Durangelo Sainja throws from 9 different arm angles. You can throw a Borgo ball about 8,500 different ways. And I just can't wait to mimic being Durangelo Sainja from Mississippi State last year when I get my hands on Borgo balls. That's what I'm most excited about, okay? That's the first thing that popped into my brain when I was watching the video on backyardbaseballbros.com. So I can't wait to do my best Durangelo Sainja impression with all the different pitches he throws.
That's an amazing point. We will bring 1 or 2 of those to Hoover because Blake's got our address. He's going to put them in the mail this week. We're going to get some to Learfield Studios, network headquarters, if you will, Winston-Salem. So looking forward to that. All right, back to Alabama. And thank you, Blake, and the Burgonios for partnering up with 3D here for the 2025 season. 12-10 walk-off win. David Hodo was the hero in the end, but down 10-0. I mean, I don't want to hear anything about the King James of the NBA. All right, there's one LeBron in my life, and it is Justin LeBron. Last name LeBron. First name Justin, last name LeBron. First name Charlie, last name Wilson. I mean, this dude should have been my Golden Spikes Award preseason pick. He had 2 3-run home runs to help will Alabama back. I mean, this dude is just putting up insane numbers. 379 average, 14 runs, 11 hits in 29 at-bats. He's got 4 total bombs. He had a walk-off against Middle Tennessee State in the midweek. 27 total bases for this dude. Justin LeBron is a superstar.
He is. He really is. That's the crazy thing about looking at this whole what happened this weekend. Justin LeBron already the 3rd Alabama player this season with 6 runs batted in a game. 3rd time this year. They've played 8 games. And they've had 3 different players with 6 RBI games already because Garrett Statton and Bryce Fowler have already had 6 RBI days. It was the largest comeback in program history. That stands alone. But Justin LeBron, career-high 6 RBIs in that finale against Ohio State. And then you look at their first 2 games. They go against Coastal. Zane Adams, gets them out to a good start, 4 1/3, 6 Ks, 5-run fifth inning, puts it away. NC State, they shut them down. All they need is a Brennan Norton home run. Riley Quick goes 4 solid innings. And this team as an offense as a whole is actually just playing very well. They're hitting 339, 13 homers, 85 RBIs. They've walked nearly as much as they've struck out. I'm a little concerned with the starting pitching for Alabama overall, just because they haven't been able to stretch a lot of these guys out. You heard the numbers on Adams, 4 1/3, Riley Quick, 4 innings. Bobby Alcock hasn't had a great start to the season. But if Alabama can hit like this, who cares? Like, this team is nearly 12 runs per game. They're gonna bash bros everybody out of the stadium.
Well, pitching, starting would be the one question mark. 8-0. They've used. Do you know how many pitchers that they've used in total?
More than Drangelo Sanja has arm angles.
Yes, correct. Riley Quick, who you brought up, probably was the most bona fide pitcher of the weekend, who at least started, because just one hit, 4 strikeouts across his 4 innings. I think that was in game 2 against State. By the way, how about NC State? Maybe the biggest loser of the weekend. They've since dropped 4 in a row. They dropped all the way out of the rankings, 14 spots. They were 12 coming in last week. We'll have some more rankings reaction in a moment as we weave through all of these games. But the pitching prowess, Con, it's, they have problems in defining a true start. It's early, okay? We're 2 weekends in, but we are here to overreact. I may have said otherwise last week, but we're here to overreact. That's what we do each and every week. The bullpen, though, that has come in, and the pieces that Rob Vaughn has at his disposal, I mean, he almost has too many levers to pull. He's used 22 different pitchers. 22 different pitchers through a week and a half of the season. I mean, it's incredible. I don't know if any team has used more. I don't know if any team has 22 pitchers, period. He's used 22 of them. And they have come up when it matters most. I mean, say what you want. There's 2 sides to it, right? You dig yourself a 10-0 hole, but then you hold Ohio State at bay for the remaining 6 innings into that ball game. And that's because of your bullpen, allowing your offense the time to come back, the perseverance, the patience. I mean, they drew 12 walks in the game against Coastal Carolina. I think that was on Friday. They had drawn 13 in game 2 against Bradley opening weekend. I mean, this lineup, not only are they lethal and can hit the long ball and deliver the dinger, they will wait on the pitch that is most treasure-filled as they can, and they're not going to chase, okay? So they will be patient. They will pick out the pitch that is best for them. But the pitchers and the bullpen especially, if that all comes together the way that Rob Vaughn wants over the course of this, let's just talk about the SEC season, the 10 weeks of the SEC. I mean, dude, Alabama, what they've shown me in 2 weeks, with just the amount of arms, with the players they have offensively, we haven't even, we talk about Will Hodo and his walk-off bomb and Justin LeBron. How about Brennan Norton, who's leading the team with a 407 average? You gave all the team numbers, but he's 11 for 27. He's only got 6 RBIs, but dude's getting on base. He's got a couple of dongs too. He's got so many great pieces, and I've seen so much through 2 weeks that I feel like Alabama has made the most declarative statement to this point of the year. You can argue K-State after dropping the opening weekend, not winning a game, what they did to win Globe Life, but they're not 8-0. Alabama is 8-0. I think they're as dangerous as anyone to make it to Omaha.
I'd agree with you on they're as dangerous as anyone to make it to Omaha. I would say North Carolina's made a more declarative statement to start the year. I'd throw that out there because of the sweep of Texas Tech and then what they did this past week, especially with the way they swept East Carolina. I think North Carolina maybe has made a more declarative statement than Alabama, but Alabama was the loudest of the weekend, especially with how they came back against Ohio State, down 10-0 after 3.5 innings, and the way they dismantled NC State, the number 12 team in the country. So loudest noise of the weekend, Alabama. Declarative statement on the year so far, I'm going to go Tar Heels.
One more from this weekend and Rob Vaughn in Alabama before we move on. Vaughn in his second season coming over from Maryland. We'll get to the Terps and Western Carolina. That'll be part of our box score bingo coming up in segment 2 here for this week's pod. Again, cadence once per week till we get through March Madness. You've got basketball content in your College Sports Now feed wherever you podcast with Hartzell and Norlander, and then Rob Joyce and Megan Gower with the Gower Hour. You have all of that wrapped around our baseball goodness one time per week through March Madness. Subscribe to the YouTube page, Dugouts, Dumbbells, Dingers. Dugouts, Dumbbells, Dingers. We are live right now. And at 3D Dingers on Twitter. Help us grow this thing organically. We know Blake Bergonio and his brothers are certainly, they understand that. They're helping us in that regard. But Rob Vaughn, on the toughness, on the resiliency of his team, I thought he had an epic quote. And really, this is, something I'd like to align my own life with, and how I approach things would come as no surprise to you.
It's an emotional baseball game. Toughness is doing your job when the world's burning down around you. That's what toughness is. And that's what this group did, man. They just kept showing up and they kept punching.
Toughness is doing your job when the world is burning down around you. Man, I love that. I wrote that down. I put that in my notes. I've got a motivational note, keeper on my phone. Rob Vaughn, bless you.
I think that needs to be your new Twitter bio or X bio once you retire the stay off the airport Wi-Fi. Because you live your life like it's a piñata. You just close your eyes and swing. I think that's your new mantra. I love that. That's a phenomenal quote from Rob Vaughn. And I think that needs to be plastered in the Alabama locker room throughout the rest of this season, or in the dugout, something that they can see, they can connect with after a great weekend they had this weekend in Jacksonville. That could carry them all the way through the rest of the year. And we could be witnessing a phenomenal season upcoming for the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, very high on the Crimson Tide. Kansas undefeated as well. They haven't really played anybody. 7-0. As I said, 16 teams are unbeaten at this point. And yes, Tennessee is one of those. Before we check in on the defending national champion Tennessee Volunteers, Con, let's whip around some of these other tournaments. Brought up K-State going perfect 3-0 at Globe Life. Michigan didn't win a game. Arkansas really had to grind out their 2 wins, falling in the opener on Friday night against Kansas State. And then beating TCU in game 2. I had it here. Let me look. I think it was 3 hits only, and they won. I think it was 2-1. 2-1 was the final. They only banged out 3 hits. The pitching for Arkansas. Stop me if you've heard that before. It's not the offense, and it's a 5 fire alarm type scenario for the Arkansas bats, as it is each and every year. We can put it over under on how many weeks into the year before the fan base is calling for the head of one Nate Thompson, their hitting coach. And it took until Friday night. So Twitter was ablaze with Hogs Twitter coming after Thompson. But if you were to look at the Arkansas pitchers, okay, they have struck out 64 total so far. Your number one is Gabe Gackle. He did what he could on Friday night, but, Blake Dean came in for K-State and was just better. That was a game for the Hogs where they saw the Aloy, my God, nearly go back-to-back, okay, in Wahiva and his brother, Kihioy Aloy, okay, the freshman. They each homered with just one batter in between, Brent Iredale, who flew out. So they homered in a 3-batter stretch, almost back-to-back. But it wasn't enough. Got to credit K-State. But back to the Arkansas pitching, an ERA, or opponent's batting average of .269. That's not good. I'm reading the hitters. Average of .219, but a 2.10 ERA. You look at Gackle, 1.69. He's got 9 Ks. He hasn't even reached his full potential to this point in 10 2/3. But Zach Root is who I want to focus on, the ECU transfer. He has come in, thrown 10 innings, and struck out 18 while walking just 3 and allowing 2 earned runs. I mean, the pitching staff is going to keep them in every single game. We know that. Carson Wiggins, who hit 100 miles per hour in his first 4 pitches opening weekend when he came in. A lot of excitement around this young arm and what he can do. And is he going to be able to carve out a starting position? I don't think so. Behind a Gackle, a Root, a Gage Wood, who got elevated to the starting rotation. They have Landon Beidelshe, who came over from Ohio State. He's been that 4th starter, if you will, to this point. But Wiggins got roughed up over the weekend. So I trust the pitching, but the hitting, again, so many question marks. And it looks like our boy Rocco Pepe has lost his spot. He's 1 for 13. Cam Koziel, the Vanderbilt transfer, is now taken over. But he's hitting. So if you're going to hit, you're going to have a spot in this order.
That's right, because really the 2 main guys that are hitting are what Arkansas baseball is referring to, and this is a social display of affection early in the podcast, the Bash Bradas in Kuhio and Vahiva Aloy. Arkansas baseball posted a social media post yesterday evening, a nice graphic of the Bash Bradas, and it's Kuhio and Vahiva Aloy. I have it pulled up right now. I was going to try and share my screen, but I don't want to mess up the live stream. We'll try and figure that out for next week. But
try and share your screen, bro. Come on. Let's learn together.
We'll all right, let's see.
Here, I'll give you the average. So Wahiva 4.7. Each of them are hitting 417, but 10 24 for Wahiva. The elder Aloy, year 2, with Arkansas, came over from Sac State last offseason. And then Kahio Aloy, the freshman, he is 5 of 12. But of those 5 hits, for the younger Aloy, 3 of them are home runs and 2 are doubles. They're all extra base hits for the young kid. Yeah. And that was and he was pinch hitting a lot over the weekend as well.
Here's the screen. Can you see it? Okay, very good. We worked it out. So Kahio Aloy, I mean, him and Vahiva are the offense right now for Arkansas. They're both hitting .417, 3 homers, 7 runs batted in each. Kahio against TCU was the big star, pinch hit 2-run double against TCU after Zach Root dealt with 10 strikeouts, tying his career high. And then it was Vahiva Aloy who had the 4-hit day against Michigan in that 8-6 win with a triple shy of the cycle. So these guys are the 2 offense. But yeah, you're right. Arkansas's pitching, like you said, stop me if you've heard this before. The Razorbacks are going to be led by their pitching. But if you want to talk about pitching from this past weekend, Shaz, I think we have to look at Kansas State, who went 3-0. Michigan 0-3. Tracy Smith got cooked, unfortunately. TCU 1-2. Their only win came against Michigan. But Kansas State, they win 3-2 versus Arkansas, 5-1 versus Michigan, 10-2 versus TCU. And you look at each of those games, it was relievers in the first 2. Blake Dean, 3 2/3, 5 strikeouts in relief against the Hogs for K-State in that Fayetteville rematch from last year's regional. Michigan, it was Dante Lewis and James Guyette who combined for 5 hitless innings in relief for Kansas State. And then against TCU, they didn't need any relief because Lincoln Sheffield came in and absolutely dominated the Horned Frogs with 7 innings and 5 hits, while the offense attacked their bullpen and scored 9 runs from the 5th to the 7th. So, yes, let's heap praise on Arkansas's pitching because year in and year out, Dave Van Horn doles out an incredible staff. But you want to talk about the best pitching performance from Globe Life Field? It was the Wildcats of Kansas State.
Dude, Pete Hughes has that thing humming, man. And his old team, Oklahoma, Skip Johnson. How about them winning Round Rock? I mean, they're one of those undefeateds that's still remaining. But K-State just has Arkansas's number, right? Swept through the Fayetteville Regional a year ago, went to the Charlottesville Super. No match for Virginia. Virginia gets the Omaha bid, man. But this Pete Hughes-led club, the Big 12 is showing me something. Not as much Texas Tech, who dropped series UC Irvine, but we know the Anteaters are good, and we know Tech struggled the week before opening weekend, got swept by North Carolina. But some of these teams that are going up and grabbing the mantelpiece, if you will, in the Big 12, somebody like a K-State. Baylor had an undefeated start, finally lost this past weekend. I say finally, like the season's been going on for weeks, but we got a lot of baseball ahead of us, 13, 14 weeks of it, 56 regular season games. But K-State, the statement that they made, the resiliency, the intoxicating effort from them, knowing they went on the road, lost in the Coastal Carolina bash at the beach opening weekend, lost a midweek game as well before coming on down to Arlington, and to shove the way that they did on the mound and get the timely hitting. Blake Dean in relief. Again, that 3-2 win over Arkansas. He was spectacular. Yeah, man, K-State, I love what they're doing. The story of the Wildcats last year, I think they certainly have all the opportunity in the world to be able to advance that and take it to the next level this year. And Pete Hughes might be a candidate that we need to get on the pod at some point. Yeah. Don't worry, folks. We've got scintillating guests heading your way at some point once the bandwidth appears for each of us.
Allows. Yeah, don't forget West Virginia. They're 7-0 too, Shaq.
Yes. Sorry. Your boys. I apologize.
Kansas number 1 in the RPI. Tennessee number 2. West Virginia number 3 in the very early RPI, according to Warren Nolan. All 3 of them at 7-0, part of that 16-team grouping that is still undefeated in college baseball. It was talked about with Alabama at 8-0. But let's get into that Round Rock Carbach Classic, because you brought up Oklahoma and what a great effort Oklahoma had. It was a very, intriguing way that all these games went down, because Oklahoma trailed in all 3 games of this weekend. They won them all. 3-2 versus Minnesota, 8-4 versus number 7 Oregon State, and 5-4 in 12 innings versus number 2 Virginia. And I want your opinion here after this on if you're worried about Virginia in the early going, as they're 3-3 on the season. But that first game against Minnesota, there was a balk in the top of the 8th that provides a winning run, but they got a great effort on the mound from Kyson Witherspoon, 7 innings, 12 Ks. Against Oregon State, they were down 2-0 after 1. They score 8 unanswered. Scott Mudler, Easton Carmichael, both homer. And then in that game against Virginia, it was a walk-off bunt single throwing error against Virginia that won it in the 12th inning for Oklahoma. So they did it in a variety of ways. Skip Johnson continues to just empower his team to win any way they can, and they got it done this weekend.
Yeah, Oklahoma, impressive. Bonkers win in 12 innings over Virginia in the finale. That was on Sunday in Round Rock. But the thing with Virginia that does concern me is they're jumping out to leads. They're not able to hang on to them. And really that was the case throughout the weekend, even against Oregon State. I mean, they fell 7-2, but they had an early lead, and then they had to come from behind against Minnesota. If they go down, they've shown the ability and resolve, the perseverance to come back. If they get a lead, they're certainly, as much as anybody, willing to choke it away. So I don't know what the messaging is. You would expect it to be good and expect them to have a veteran enough presence and the leadership and certainly the pedigree and tradition and all of that to be able to overcome these early struggles. And you'd rather have them early in the year now, right? So you can identify them and have the time to correct them prior to ACC play. But in both of their losses, just 6 hits and none of them extra bases either. So, they're not slugging. Maybe they're pressing. I don't know. I'm not hitting the panic button, but for a team that started number 2 in the preseason poll, they're down to what? I don't have it up. 10. I think they dropped to. I think they dropped 8 spots.
They dropped to 10. Yes, that's correct.
So I'm glad we're punishing them because I think our D1baseball.com poll doesn't punish enough. Our top 25, our accepted top 25 by the NCAA. And I understand why, it's a long season and we're judging these teams by their series and other circumstances. But, when Texas A&M takes a loss to Cal Poly in the finale and their offense was non-existent almost all weekend, wouldn't you consider maybe moving them out of there for a team that made, as we talked about right off the top, more declarative statements in more emphatic ways? Like, how about Tennessee? And we'll talk about the Vols in a moment. But LSU lost to Omaha over the weekend. That was a 5-4 score, I think, in game 2, the first of a doubleheader. And that's an early nominee for a social display of affection for me because in spite of that loss for LSU and Omaha's win, and then Omaha getting blasted in the doubleheader finale, 12-1 was the final for LSU to win that series. And they've had these weekends. Every good team has had these weekends, especially early on. For LSU, they had it last year against was it Stony Brook who went there last year? They had a bad weekend against Iowa, too, a couple of seasons ago. I mean, this stuff happens. But what Omaha did, not allowing the 12-1 loss to LSU in the finale distract them from the 5-4 win was great. They posted that on Twitter at the Omaha baseball account and said, don't let this distract you from the fact that we beat the number 2, team in the country, as they were letting their viewership, their fan base know on Twitter. So I thought that was great. Affectionately, steering attention back towards their upset of LSU. So, LSU loses a game. Texas A&M loses a game. Who didn't lose any games and hasn't? That's Tennessee. You want to go to the Vols?
Yeah, let's go to the Vols. I do want to touch on one thing for Texas A&M since you brought them up and they lost to Cal Poly, their first win over number 1 since 2020. They did lose Gavin Grahovac for the season. He had a left shoulder injury and he's going to have surgery. He's done for the year. So that is a big blow to the number 1 team in the country.
That is massive. He had a double to help spark them and come from behind fashion on Saturday. I was working the Vanderbilt baseball board. I'll give you some Commodores intel before we move on and hit our first break.
5-0 week for Vandy. Yeah,
5-0 week. Swept St. Mary's. Had to do so and come from behind fashion. Game 2, the game I was on against St. Mary's. But Grahovac. That is it's Matt. There, he was preseason Golden Spikes Award guy. And as a freshman was one of the best in the country. So we had him on the pod last year, friend of the program, wishing him all the best. That's really going to handicap, I think, the Aggies' ability. But, they're loaded. Can they get back to Omaha under a first-year head coach, with Michael Early? I don't know. I was skeptic already. But now if you don't have one of the biggest pieces next to Jace Lavalette, who had decided to stick with Early during the coaching change, and Schloss going to Texas, one of your best leaders, most fierce competitors, hitters, and even defenders, so you can plug and play anywhere. I mean, that's as big a hit as anybody can take early in the season. All right, Tennessee Volunteers, 7-0. They have 20 dongs, 20 home runs by 11 different dudes. I'm going to read you 20 home runs by 11 different Volunteers. I'm going to read you some numbers from @DiamondVols on Twitter, non-affiliated account. Okay, I don't know if you saw this. I favored it, so I'm going to run down all the stats. It did take an 8th inning grand slam from Levi Clark, who had a couple of dingers on the weekend. Levi Clark might be the next household name for Tennessee baseball. He's got 3 on the year, but he had a grand slam to help Tennessee break a tie game in the 8th inning in the middle game against Sanford as they swept. But here's the numbers from at Diamond Vols. They're 7-0, 5 run rule wins, 20 home runs by 11 different dudes, 4 grand slams. 4 of the 20 home runs are grand slams. They've scored 98 runs through 7 games. That's 19 per. They have a 362 average, a 1.244 OPS. They've walked 69 times while striking out just 41. 69, nice. 1.36 ERA against a 0.72 whip. Opponents are hitting 128 off them. And keeping with the pitching theme, 87 strikeouts by this staff, including 14 by Liam Doyle in the opener against Sanford, former Ole Miss pitcher, on Friday. In 53 total innings pitched, 87 Ks to 15 walks. It's a 14.77 K per 9 ratio. These are ungodly numbers.
They are ungodly numbers, and I will add a couple more. That ERA, by the way, 4th in the nation, 20 home runs, leads the nation. They're 7th in average at 362. Liam Doyle, you bring him up, he leads the country in strikeouts. He has 25 in just 10 1/3 innings. 25 in 10 1/3 innings. That's stupid. That's 2.5 strikeouts per inning. That's basically he's striking out nearly every batter he faces. Yeah. Every batter in an inning. That's so ridiculous. Levi Clark, his average 21st in the nation, 3 homers, 13 RBIs. They have 13 players hitting 300 or better, 5 400 or better. I'll bring up this one thing on Tennessee, and Vols fans are going to be like, well, it's their schedule. We won the games. You haven't played anybody. They haven't played anybody. Hofstra, UNC, Asheville, and Sanford. So, yes, congratulations on winning the games you're supposed to win and doing them with video game type numbers. You should be doing that. They're going to have a stiffer test this weekend in Houston at the Astros Foundation College Classic. So I'll be interested to see how this plays out, how this team plays when they go to Houston and face some tougher competition. But not taking anything away from Tennessee. I'm just saying they haven't played anybody worthwhile yet.
No, they haven't. And I think they lose this weekend. That's my Schass surefire lock of the upcoming weekend. We'll take you through the notables before we sign off here. We'll try and go only about 45 more minutes. We got a hard out. Kahn's on a side. Kahn is doing PA announcing for tennis today.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, He is just a jack of all trades, the Swissest of Swiss Army knives that has ever graced God's green earth. What do you wear to PA announce?
Just a Wake Forest polo. Yeah, nothing crazy.
That's all? You go pantsless to go PA tennis? Oh, my God. Now I'm hitting the panic button. Let me get some Tiger Balm on that one. Jesus. Whew. That is not intoxicating, okay? That is the opposite of today's theme, folks.
Maybe not for you. Other people would disagree.
I don't want to know about your personal life, bro. Keep that to yourself. Keep that to yourself. Let's use that to pivot and highlight a team that ends a 55-game losing streak. You called it. I was I deflected, ignored, was not going to entertain the topic that we had last week about when this losing streak is finally going to end for Maryland Eastern Shore, who hadn't won a game since May of 2023. Overcame a 5-run first inning from Towson. You talk about perseverance and picking yourself up off the mat, an inspiring effort, an intoxicating effort from the Maryland Eastern Shore Danny Acosta-led Hawks. They finally did it, Kahn, winning 14-7. Football score to boot.
55-game losing streak gone. First win since May 24th, 2023. Put it in the books. Season high, 14 runs, 13 hits. They did it, baby. They did it. It's over. We can stop talking about it. And then they promptly lost and got bashed in on Sunday. So
yeah, I was looking. I didn't look too hard, but I was trying to see if there was a soundbite out there that we can bring to the show from.
So was I.
Danny Acosta. But I did link the story in the doc. So here's the transcribed quote from Acosta. It definitely feels good to have the pressure off our shoulders. However, tomorrow's another day, and we have to go back to work as Towson is in a formidable opponent and a very well-coached team. So we have to continue to do our job. I thought he would wax a little bit more on everything that, this victory meant for the program, but and maybe he did afterwards later that night, but he didn't give that to the SID at all.
Did you watch the video of the final out? They were just like, yeah, we won, whatever. I'm like, no, dude, celebrate a little. Like, come on.
I would have gone pantsless in that dog pile if I was on the Maryland Eastern Shore baseball team after losing 55 games in a row.
Yeah.
And we beat Towson 14-7. I mean, pants off, dance off. Let's go. There's probably nobody in the
my shirt would have been off.
There's probably nobody in the stands. I mean, nobody saw it or reported it.
No.
I mean, it's a friendly space, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You know what was not a friendly space this weekend? UNC and ECU.
Oh, my gosh.
Holy smokes. Dude, that rivalry is another level. I love this series every single year. I know how it played out this year with UNC sweeping ECU, and we've talked about the fact that we think ECU is going to have a down year this year. But, oh, my gosh, the atmospheres that we see in those games are awesome. The only one that I think rivaled it from this past week was Southern Miss and Mississippi State in the midweek when Southern Miss won, and they had nearly 6,000 at Pete Taylor Park. But UNC and ECU, again, just statement atmosphere, statement games for the Tar Heels, who are now 7-0 after beating K-State in the midweek. But what a weekend we just saw between UNC and ECU as a little teaser for what we're going to see with Clemson, South Carolina coming up this weekend. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, similar format. You get the neutral site game at a minor league ballpark, and then ECU and North Carolina did this past weekend. They played Monday night, the finale in Greenville, because Friday got washed out at the DBAP. So they played the DBAP game, which was supposed to be the middle, the Durham Bulls Athletic Park, where the minor league Bulls team plays. They played that as game one of the series on Saturday. Carolina won that one. I think it was 2-0. Yeah, 2-0. Yep. Then 11-6 in Chapel Hill. They scored the last 6 runs of that game. Really, that was one of the more entertaining one. Now, Saturday was like pitcher's duel, high level, well-played game. For those that made it out to the DBAP, to your point about environments, charged up, but still a bigger park. You're not getting the intimacy. You got that in Chapel Hill. You got that at the Bosch. You got that at Clark LeClaire on Monday night. And the weather had improved, immensely since the latter part of last week. So, but 6-3 win for Carolina as they walk away with the 3-0 sweep. This ECU team is going to go through so many growing pains this year. I don't know how much really we're going to talk about unless they continue to just go into the shitter, which they very well could be, but I don't expect that. I mean, it's a Cliff Godwin-led team. By the way, he's in the dugout. He's not coaching in the third base coaching box.
I saw that.
He's in the dugout this year.
I saw that. That's a change. I'm interested if you end up doing any ECU baseball, like you occasionally pinch it for at some point during the year, if you can find out some more intel on that. From the UNC side, though, Jason DeCaro, your boy, you brought him up last week, how hyped you were on him. He was awesome in that shutout win in Durham. But let's talk about Hunter Stokely, all right? In Chapel Hill, 4 for 5, 3 ribbies, and then he hits a dong in Greenville into the jungle, all right? Like, what a weekend for Hunter Stokely for UNC. That guy was awesome.
He was. You mentioned, let me just pick off a couple from the olive branches that you provided to me there. You had mentioned the environment at Southern Miss earlier in the week. Colby Allen was the pitcher who started for Southern Miss. He grew up in Starkville. His high school was right around the corner from the campus of Mississippi State. Didn't get recruited by the Bulldogs. Went out there. Right field roost was popping. They were climbing from the trees. Incredible environment for Mississippi State and Southern Miss on Tuesday night in what I think was among like a top 5 crowds ever. Now, Southern Miss is turning around and playing at Ole Miss at Swayze here on Tuesday night as we record. They left at 7 a.m. this morning. I know because John Cox was texting me at 5:22 a.m. Eastern time, which is 4:22 Central time, asking me what studio and who his studio host is. John, it's the same unless I tell you otherwise, okay? I know you're listening right now, but I was ready to get in my car and meet you en route to Swayze Field. When I saw that text, when I got up to pee in the middle of the night, when I got up to apply Tiger Balm, when I had a stench, okay, just overcoming my body because the cat took a fat, nasty deuce again overnight and did it on my daughter's beautiful pink rug in front of the bathtub.
Oh,
and
no.
I was too tired to know or to realize, but I'd smelled something, and I'm applying this Tiger Balm all over my body, to my knee and to my shoulder, and I'm like, what is that smell? Gosh, you probably shit again. Then I walk around the corner, look at her litter box, and it's fine because she's been pooping outside the litter box. But then this morning I get up, go back in the bathroom, and I see it just staring me straight in the face. I'm like, yep, it was behind me the whole time in the middle of the night. Yeah. Anyways, I give you the Southern Miss outcome. Southern Miss has been awesome. They're one of the teams that entered the rankings this week. But the other thing we just talked about was the coaching box thing. So let me use this to vault myself into the Vanderbilt discussion. Tim Corbin is back in the third base coaching box this year. If you recall, he went to the dugout last season. So in his pregame interview with Andrew Allegretta, had a Saturday's win over St. Mary's, a game where they had a 9-run 7th inning to help overcome a deficit as part of a sweep against the Gales. And I have some other great intel too. The JUCO Bandits, as they're called, with John Michael Morris is the director of recruiting for Vanderbilt. That's a nickname that he gave them on the air, the JUCO Bandits. I love that. So I'm going to carry that with me the rest of the year. But it's Riley Nelson, it's Mac Rose. In the 7th inning, they combined for a big spark as part of that 9th inning. He was Johnny on the spot with the JUCO Bandits. I thought that was great. But back to Corbin. So Corbin told Allegretta, it's like he's, quote, back with the boys, like he's playing at third again. Being in the third base coaching box. He feels like a player. Now, he also said, he's like, look, people may scoff at that or eye roll, knowing Tim Corbin's resume and what he's done for the game of baseball and all of the achievements, all the accomplishments, how long he's been part of the Vanderbilt community and how he's one of the more elite coaches, if not the most elite, we can argue, of all time. He's on the Mount Rushmore. I think we could put him there. He's like, I loved hearing that, the authenticity and the genuineness of a guy, given his resume and what he has accomplished, that he loves being out in the coaching box because he feels like he's out there playing, because that's why any of us do what we do in sports, because it keeps us closely attached to what we love most. And for a coach, the head coach, the CEO of a program that has won 2 national championships and has been to Omaha more times than I can count. I think I only have like 5 fingers.
I was going to say, you can't count above 4. So
No. I chopped them all off before we started the podcast. For him to have the humility to still, say that and feel that and have that gives you everything you need to know about who Corbin is, how he's wired, and the energy that he still has to do this, and felt it was necessary to put himself back out in the coaching box. So that's my number 1 point on Vanderbilt, or 2, the JUCO Bandits, Corbin back in the box. But the discussion as well about RJ Austin, Kahn. Corbin described his speed and how he is coming out of the box as having hot legs out of the box. Quote, hot legs out of the box. That's what he used to describe him, because he is so quick, faster than he's ever been before. Now, we're not talking Enrique Bradfield Jr. fast, but we're talking so fast in a way where RJ Austin on Friday in the series opener in the win over St. Mary's tripled twice in a game for Vanderbilt, something that hadn't happened since 2012 when Tony Kemp had done it on 2 different occasions in 2012.
A Tony Kemp reference.
But RJ Austin blew through a stop sign from Corbs, telling him to hang up on second base on one of those triples. But RJ Austin was like, nah, bro, I'm going. And he slid in ahead of the throw, made it safely. Corbs was challenging and questioning him after. And RJ gets up, dusts himself off, and is like, what, coach? You don't think I'm fast enough? And I just died. It was amazing. Just an awesome back and forth. And Corb said of that, here's another one. Not only hot legs out of the box for RJ Austin, but this is also going in my notes of things to follow and keep tabs on in terms of sayings or phrasings or verbiage. Tim Corbin says RJ Austin has, quote, academic recklessness. Recklessness.
What is
I
that?
love that. Well, he's smart enough, he's educated enough to know what buttons to press at what time, what risks to take, how to push the limit, how to do so in such a well thought out, educated manner, but still causing epic anxieties and heart attack for whoever it is that is on the receiving end or his coach or whomever. But he is going to take risks that others wouldn't normally do, but you're going to allow him to take those certain risks because he is RJ Austin, and his IQ is so high. It's all about baseball IQ, and it's about talent, and you're going to trust that guy to make whatever play that he decides to do.
Certainly agree. Here's what I take away from all of that. Tim Corbin continues to make himself a sought-after coach to play for, right? Like, he is a player's coach. He is here for his team. He's here for his guys. He's here for Vanderbilt. And in the era of the transfer portal and NIL, relationships with the staff do really matter in where you want to go, because there's a lot of money being thrown out there. There's a lot of offers being put out. There's a lot of, promises being made that aren't always kept. But Tim Corbin is showing himself to be, like you said, one of the boys, a member of the team, not just the head coach is going to tell you what to do day in and day out. He's willing to let guys like RJ Austin challenge him. That's a guy, if I'm a player in college baseball right now, I want to go play for, and that's going to keep Vanderbilt in the national spotlight for as long as Tim Corbin wants to remain the head coach of the Vandy Boys.
Yeah, really cool stuff. John Michael Morris, by the way, director of recruiting, he comes on and calls some of the middle innings with Andrew, especially for home games. Forever an invitation on the show. He said, I will come on anytime. So we're going to get John Michael Morris on at some point. The Vanderbilt director of recruiting, he will come on 3D, Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers, and we'll talk all things, recruit, really that side of the game is what I'm, fascinated by. We don't even need to go all in on Vandy. We'll get some good Vandy intel, but hell, I'm more curious about your day-to-day and roster construction in the free agency that is college baseball nowadays with NIL and the portal. But two, how Vanderbilt factors into that equation, because they've been able to do a lot of this stuff in terms of money just because of the endowment and the way that institution runs. So fascinating stuff. I know we got to move, man. So let's take a break. Is there anything you want to add before we do some box score bingo?
Yeah, let me just empty the notebook real quick.
Okay.
A couple of things from the weekend. Just want to touch on. Got to give a shout out to our boy Tristan Levesque of Rhode Island for throwing 10 innings, 9 strikeouts, 119 pitches in a loss to Oregon over the weekend. Oregon takes 3 of 4 from Rhode Island. Rhode Island won that first
innings.
Game.
10 scoreless innings. 119. You didn't hear that wrong. Weekend 2 of the season. 119 pitches.
No, the Rams are just saying, go, my man, go. Now, we didn't get Levesque versus Grayson Grinsell, which was upsetting, but, doesn't matter. Tristan Levesque, pitching performance of the weekend, absolutely outstanding.
He was able to achieve that feat, 119 pitches, 10 scoreless innings, in a loss against Oregon because he is a consumer and user of the Borco ball. That's what helped to get his arm into shape. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's just speculation, but why not?
Oh, okay. All right, gotcha. So that's what I want to throw out there. Also, do we talk about the rating or the rankings? So I just want to mention the rankings. Southern Miss slipped in 7-1 after taking 2 of 3 from Louisiana Tech, number 6 RPI team in the country. Ole Miss now in the rankings, 6-1. They swept Eastern Kentucky over the weekend, dropping out. NC State, we mentioned them. Oklahoma State lost to Texas State in the midweek. A&M has them tonight. Look out. And then Nebraska lost 2 of 3 in Lafayette to the Raging Cajuns, so they're out of the rankings too. That's all I got though from the A block. Let's take a pause.
17,994 fans in the 2-1 win for Arkansas over TCU at Globe Life. Second most at Globe Life for a college baseball game, Balm South. So these big league parks are showing up, and it's a cool environment for those kids for all those showcase events each weekend. We got more games coming up at Globe Life this weekend. We'll touch on those, play some box score bingo when we return in a moment. Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers.
A true teammate takes on every day with a winner's attitude, gets up when they fall down, and leaves it all on the field. There's a group of teammates who do all these things every single day. But they're more than your typical athlete. They're kids dealing with unthinkable medical circumstances. Team Impact matches children facing serious illness or disability with college sports teams, creating a long-term, life-changing experience for everyone involved. Help us get all kids in the game. Visit teamimpact.org. Team Impact. All in, all together.
Hi, this is Rob Joyce. Each week, I'm joined by Her Hoopstats' Megan Gower as we break down the latest in women's basketball across the country on College Sports Now. We've got analysis, expert guests, the latest bracketology breakdowns, and more. From coast to coast, we've got you covered with all of the action now through the Final Four in April. Search College Sports Now wherever you get your podcasts, and check out herhoopstats.com for all of your women's basketball needs.
All right, back here on Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers. And before we get into our brand new segment, Shas, that I'm very excited about that you've created, Box Score Bingo. That's
aren't I awesome
for me? Yeah, incredible. I'm just gonna laud you with praise. I'm gonna inflate that ego so that hat's gonna pop off your bald head. All right, but we want to give a shout out to our other longstanding partner that I am wearing a shirt from right now, Baseball Barbecue. All right, folks, listen. The college baseball season is underway. And there is no better way to enjoy college baseball than firing up the grill, getting out your baseball barbecue dirt rubs, seasoning up some meats, wielding those tongs and spatulas, and using your baseball barbecue cutting board and slicing up some fresh meat to enjoy college baseball with over the weekend. So fire up your grill. Go to baseballbarbecue.com/CSN to find the perfect grilling gift for the college baseball fans in your life. And new this year, you get 20% off your purchase by using the code 3D-20. That's 3D. That's the number 3, the letter D, a dash, and then 20. And you can use that to get 20% off your order at baseballbarbecue.com/CSN. And you get a really cool shirt like this.
Baseball barbecue. I wore my Grillies shirt last week. 3D-20, baseballbarbecue.com, 3D-20. I just pulled up the website too. Some of those, the fine craftsmanship that goes into the grilling tools. Again, casual or serious, no matter who you are, but the collegiate infused items from ECU. We've talked about them. I haven't talked about Georgia Southern. I'm on assignment calling Georgia Southern baseball this weekend at Campbell. There's LSU stuff, Michigan, Louisiana Tech, who dropped 2 out of 3 in the Love Shack versus Pete Taylor Park. Right field Roost Affair in Hattiesburg this past weekend. Even Creighton, and yeah, your SEC juggernauts like Arkansas and Auburn. Ike Irish, my God, that guy was insane this past weekend. Alabama, just go to baseballbarbecue.com. Okay, box score bingo. Con, let's start with UConn trailing FAU on Saturday. Didn't have this on my bingo board. That's the beautiful part of this segment. None of this is on our bingo board, but we're going to make it seem like it was anyways. 15-0 was the score after 2 innings. In a 25-17 loss, I guess, credit the Huskies, your Big East preseason favorite, who has just had a nightmare first couple of weeks of the season. Credit them for outscoring the Owls 17-10 after going down 15-0. What do you take away from this box?
I take away that this game was drunk beyond belief. 3 hours and 44 minutes of bonkers baseball. There was 42 combined runs, 42 hits. Same amount of hits as runs in this game, and only 3 errors between UConn and Florida Atlantic. Because as you mentioned, Florida Atlantic went up 15-0. After 3 innings, it was 17-1. And it ends up being 25-17. What a ridiculously crazy game. Great weather down in Boca Raton. 68 degrees on the day, so that wasn't an issue as well that caused anything to go haywire. The craziest thing for me is that not only there were the same amount of hits and runs in the game, there's only 3 errors combined. So it wasn't like it was bad baseball. This was just a bash day for both teams.
4 home runs apiece for each side, all by 4 different players. Only 2 players in the entire game had 4 hits. They both came from FAU in Jake Dewar and Brando LaRue. So you covered all the other high points. 3 errors combined. I didn't even look at that portion. 3:44 was the game time, as you gave right off the bat. It's 25-17 FAU over UConn. Then we pivot, and we go to a 4-hour and 14-minute game between Maryland and Western Carolina in Cullowhee. Now, Western Carolina took game 1 of this series. I don't even know what the score was. Doesn't matter because 2 and 3 were electric. Well, maybe from a Terrapin side in game 2. 35-12. 35-12. They scored in every single inning, did Maryland. 6 runs in the second, 7 in the third, 8 in the seventh. They scored at least 2 in every inning but the 6th, where they only scored once. 27 hits on 35 runs. I mean, Maryland absolutely housed Western Carolina, and we'll get to the way that this series ended. But my goodness, the Terps just unrelenting in Cullowhee.
Unrelenting is the exact right word. They made Western Carolina use 9 pitchers. Nobody threw more than an inning and 2/3 for the Catamounts against Maryland. And Maryland had, 5 different players with 3 hit games or more. They had 4 players with 4 RBI games or more, led by Alex Calarco, who I know you're going to bring up later on in the show. 3 for 5, 6 runs batted in, 2 runs scored. They had 4 homers on the day. Hollis Porter, Paul Jones II, Alex Calarco, and Jacob Orr. This was just an absolute demolition by the Maryland Terrapins, who, funny enough, were down 5-2 after an inning. They were down 5-2, and they outscored them 33-7 the rest of the way to win the game. But Maryland loses the series. Western Carolina won this series 2 out of 3, and Maryland now has to come to Deektown this weekend to face Wake Forest, who rebounded from a midweek loss to UNCG to sweep St. John's over the weekend.
35-12 loss Saturday, and then the Catamounts come back, and they win in the 10th inning. Down 1. It was 9-8 and a 3-run home run from the Catamounts' Elijah Smith. His first career bomb comes one day after his first collegiate hit. It's not like this dude didn't play last year as a freshman, 15 ABs, but didn't have a single hit. So he picks up his first college hit, okay? And then the very next game, he is able to provide the 3-run homer in the 10th in walk-off fashion. 11-9, Western Carolina comes back to beat Maryland after a 35-12 loss on Saturday. Rubber match, though, goes to the Catamounts. Good on them. I'll go ahead and give you our dude now just to put a pin in the Maryland conversation. And yeah, it comes out of College Park, or Cullowhee, if you will, from this past weekend. Alex Calarco. So there was one tweet out there that gave us insane numbers, which were insane, but they were off by a game. He's played in 6 total games now, but he had 10 hits through the first 5. And of those 10 hits for Calarco on the season, 5 of them were home runs, which included 3 grand slams, all totals that he built upon this weekend in Cullowhee. In those first 5 games, 19 RBIs, a .524 batting average, 1.381 slugging percentage, 1.964 OPS. He's got 30 hits now, or he had 30 hits all of last career. Yeah, all of last season. This season, through what is now 6 games for Calarco, he's got 11. So he's more than a third of the way here. But here's the thing. Last year, he only had 4 home runs and 19 RBIs. He's already exceeded both of those totals through not even 2 full weeks of the season. 4 home runs, 19 RBIs last year. He's got 5 dongs, 3 of them grand salamis, and he's got 19 RBIs, equaling his total from last year.
And guess where he's playing this weekend? At the couch.
The bandbox.
The boombox. The boombox.
The boombox. Yes.
I cannot wait to call the game. I'm on assignment this weekend, too. 1 game, Wake Forest and Maryland. And I cannot wait to call some Calarco clobbers. That's what I'm calling them this weekend. Calarco clobbers.
Calarco clobbers. When I was looking at the home run total leaders, guy from New Mexico State is leading with 6 bombs.
Yes.
At this point, as we record on Tuesday.
He did it against Western Illinois, by the way.
Oh, WIU Leathernecks, man. Always in the conversation, man. Just, neck up, baby. We're just helping others, have the games of their life in the start of the season to their life. But when I was looking at the home run totals, I saw Paxton Kling, former LSU Tiger, local boy, Baton Rouge area, now at Penn State. 5 home runs, 5, second nationally. So good on Paxton. I think he still has the long flowing blonde locks. Good for him to be able to carve out a spot with Penn State and have some early success.
No, he does not.
He does not. He cut it.
According to his Penn State headshot, it looks like he is clean shaven as the Yankees used to be. Although he does have a beard.
Dude, what is the deal with the Yankees relaxing their facial hair policy? Come on,
soft.
bro. They're getting soft as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem with this country. The wussification of America. I mean, it's become an epidemic.
Oh, no. Oh, Lord.
And you know what? Willie Bloomquist would agree at Arizona State because he's not recruiting soft-ass individuals or people that don't have a certain level of pride and work ethic to bring to his program. Since we're not talking about Tracy Smith, former Arizona State head coach, because, hey, Michigan went over this past weekend. Let's go back to the desert with a little Sun Devil spirited piece of sound from good old Willie.
All 4 of my years here, I feel like these guys in the clubhouse are great kids. We don't recruit turds. We recruit good kids, and every once in a while we swing and miss, but not very often. We do try to do our homework and bring in kids that are academically oriented, and good citizens and good kids that want to work hard and get better. And when you have a full gamut of those guys, full locker room of it, it's for the most part, they're going to be pretty tight in there, and they're all like-minded kids. They get along pretty well. So as far as the team chemistry in there, they're a pretty tight-knit group.
Yeah, Willie Bloomquist, no turds. He wants hardened individuals, callous people, no softies, no idiots.
I bet you his cats don't poop outside the litter box.
No, they definitely don't. He would be punting them across the desert, that's for sure, which I considered. If I had lived in a desert, I would be punting the cat. That's for sure. Oh, I just got the look of death. Okay, shall we? Let's go ahead and roll right into
Wait, we got one more on the box score bingo.
Oh, what do we got? We got
BYU and Cal State Northridge. I slipped one in there at the last moment. I wasn't sure if you'd see it.
Look at you
BYU
slipping it in.
That's right. On Thursday of last week, because BYU plays weird series on Thursday through Saturday due to the rule that they won't play on Sundays. BYU, well, not weird rule. I shouldn't say that. That's incorrect of me.
Yeah, come on. You're just as bad as the fans in Tucson at Arizona this past
correct.
weekend in basketball.
Nope, you're exactly right. University rule, they don't play on Sundays. Apologies for the word weird.
At SportsCon 4 for all the Mormons that want to come after Con.
Yep, come at me. I'm here for it. All right. Anyways, BYU hit 10 homers in a single game at Cal State Northridge in a 19-3 blowout win. 9 of them came in the first 3 innings. How about that for some box score bingo?
That is some good bingo, man. That is some good bingo.
19-3, 6 runs in the first, 6 runs in the third, 19 runs on 18 hits for BYU in that win over Cal State Northridge. There's your box score bingo, baby.
I love that. Before we roll to the schedule and then give our dudes and hat tips some other SDAs and get the hell out of here, on the topic of box scores, DBU lost immediately after we posted last week's pod when I said they would go to Omaha for the first time under the Hefner. They lost 15-5 to somebody called UTRGV. That's University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. The Vaqueros. Okay. I had to look that up when we were looking at the origins of the Gales mascot this past weekend, along with the Toreros and all these other, crazy mascots. We could save that for another pod. But they came back and then beat SIU Edwardsville by a combined score of 35-3. So you talk about putting up some runs and coming back with a vengeance. Dallas Baptist did that for your boy, Kyle Schassburger, this past weekend after getting upset 15-5. And then Duke, who lost to Cornell 11-8. In their opener, they responded, which is why they're kind of still right there hovering around 11 or 12 in the rankings and haven't had the fall that a team like NC State has had and others, even Virginia going from 2-10. Duke came back and beat Cornell 16-2 and 18-1 after dropping the opener 11-8. So good on the Blue Devils and outscoring Cornell, not a math guy, 24-3 after that. 24-3. All right, what's coming up in the midweek here, Con, that's got your eyeballs?
Let's see. We got a few good games coming up tonight as we record the podcast on a Tuesday. I already mentioned Texas A&M and Texas State. That'll be an intriguing one, especially Texas A&M playing without Gavin Grahovac. Texas State got a huge midweek win last week that we already mentioned. And let's also continue to go to the midweeks for Southern Miss and Ole Miss. You already brought that one up as well. At Swayze Field, 2 teams that just entered into the rankings, number 22 at number 24. That'll be a big one. Mississippi State and Troy, number 18 and number 21, also playing tonight. And then a precursor to your weekend series when you have Campbell and Georgia Southern in Bowie's Creek. It's actually Duke going to Bowie's Creek tonight. Number 17, Duke against Campbell. Coming up tonight on the midweek. And on Wednesday, we have Dallas Baptist and LSU on Wednesday night. I believe that's at Dallas Baptist.
No, that is a Globe Life midweek. So as part of this Globe Life thing for the first 3 weeks of the college baseball season, they do have a scheduled midweek game, if you notice. And we touched on it last week too. So that is the game that is at Globe Life. I think it was Oregon State.
It was,
midweek. But yeah, that game is at Globe Life. It is LSU and DBU. So that's a Flow Sports game. Get your Flow Sports subscription.
No, don't get your Flow Sports subscription unless you're going to listen to our boy Jack DeLongshaw, okay? Otherwise, if he's not on the call, don't worry about it.
Yeah. One thing we should say on Duke, Chris Pollard, now the winningest head coach all time at Duke. He passed.
Congratulations, Chris.
Jack Coombs, 382. His 382nd victory past the coach whom their home field where they play all their games now is named after in Jack Coombs. 15 walks they draw in that 16-2 win over Cornell as well. All right, let's keep moving to the weekend. Frisco College Baseball Classic. This one is at Globe Life. LSU, K-State, Nebraska, and Sam Houston State. Con, I'm just going to roll through these. You tell me where I'm wrong. Because you got to get all these tabs open, all right? We went through this exercise last week. Astros Foundation College Classic is what we're calling this one at Minute Maid this weekend. There are 3 SEC teams. Before I even click on the tab, I'm going to try and remember them off memory. And then Arizona, Oklahoma State, and Rice. The 3 SEC teams, which is why I think Tennessee is going to lose one this weekend. The 3 SEC, they don't play each other. They just play the combination of Arizona, Oklahoma State, and Rice. I think Tennessee is going to lose. Who's there? Tennessee is going to lose to Arizona. They will not lose Friday night to Oklahoma State. OK State has been, I wouldn't go as far as to say a dumpster fire early on, just small sample size. They've had some cancellations. But I think Tennessee will lose to Arizona. I believe that game's on Sunday. Texas A&M, I think, is there.
Yep.
And third, is it Auburn?
Mm-mm. We've already mentioned them. They're playing in a midweek that we're watching this week too.
Oh, it's LSU.
Nope. Mississippi State.
Oh, Mississippi State. That's right. Okay.
Yep.
LSU is at Globe Life. Mississippi State, Texas A&M, Tennessee. They're all at Minute Maid, home of the Astros. Arizona, OK State, and Rice are also there. Then you have the college baseball series benefiting Shriners Children's. Where is this? Oh, this one is at. Where is this one at? I don't even know where it's being played. Auburn, Ohio State, Baylor, Oregon State. They cycle through. Trust me, it's a thing. But I might have my locations messed up.
I just looked at this earlier, actually. Hang on. Is that not at Globe Life?
Yeah, that one is Globe Life. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
it's at Globe Life. Yeah.
Yeah. Astros Foundation is Minute Maid because it's home of Minute Maid. Frisco is Frisco. Duh.
Yep.
That's the Frisco College Baseball Classic. LSU, K-State, Nebraska, Sam Houston. And then Globe Life is the college baseball series benefiting Shriners. So my Shriners is still on there as a sponsor and a namesake because they had the Shriners Classic opening weekend. So Auburn, Ohio State, first matchup. Then Baylor and Oregon State. They'll cycle through that, much like this past weekend with Michigan, TCU, K-State, and Arkansas. Moving on. Las Vegas Classic, Texas, Texas Tech, Washington, and Illinois. I put LOL and an exclamation point there because Illinois and Washington now play in the same conference. And when this matchup was put on paper and came to be, that was not the case in the Big Ten. So this is a precursor. Those two are going to play each other in a non-conference game, which will be a tune-up for a series later on this year in Seattle, where the Illini will come to Montlake and take on Washington in mid-April. How about that?
I mean, welcome to the new era of college athletics, baby.
You got the Clemson, South Carolina rotation. Where are they playing?
I actually had not pulled that up
first?
yet. I can tell you in a second though. It is you talked about this last week, Shass. We really have to retrain our brains about what the new conferences are because it's so difficult to be like, this is here, this is there, this is, this team is now here. Washington and Illinois are both in the Big Ten. Oregon's in the Big Ten. You got Stanford and Cal in the ACC. So, by the way, that Clemson, South Carolina series, I pulled it up. Game 1 is at Doug Kingsmore Stadium on Friday. Saturday, they play in Greenville at Floor Field, the home of the Greenville Drive. And then Sunday to Founders Park, where they closed it out against South Carolina, the home of the Gamecocks.
Okay. All right. What else is there? Vanderbilt's in SoCal, College Baseball Classic. They're playing at UCLA, at USC, and against UConn. A lot of those games, or most of them, all at Jackie Robinson Stadium. So those are the participants there. Something to keep an eye on. Southern Miss visiting TCU. This might be my favorite. Little guy on big boy. Sorry, not trying to offend you, Southern Miss, little guy, but a non-power league team, but certainly, a team with pedigree and tradition. We know that. We document it. We haven't steered from that. We've talked about you plenty on this episode. Southern Miss losing just one game to this point. 2 out of 3 they took from Louisiana Tech, suffering their first loss to the Bulldogs. TCU has looked good, kind of tempered a little bit this past weekend at Globe Life, but still, I think that is going to be very charged up in Fort Worth. I like Southern Miss. If you want another lock, give me Southern Miss to win that series at TCU. Ostrander, Oz over Kirk Saarloos and them boys in Fort Worth this weekend. And DBU at ORU. I find this one very interesting because DBU is a lot like ORU in terms of, the religious affiliation, private school, very unique, a baseball school through and through, and not the upper echelon power school, but with history, with a winning tradition. And ORU is that team that has made it to Omaha. DBU is trying to become that team. So DBU visiting ORU. Oral Roberts lost a couple of games to Arizona State. You heard the Bloom Coast Sound a moment ago this past weekend.
Can we brand this series David versus Goliath?
We can. Let's do it. You want to make a graphic? You want to get an Adobe? You get the time for that?
Yeah, totally. I have so much time to do that.
We got to get your pantless ass to the Wake Forest tennis facility, okay?
No, I'm good. We got a little time. It's all good. We still got dudes, hat tips, and SDA. So let's step aside for a moment, and then we'll come back and wrap this up.
College
college sports fans now have access to hundreds of weekly podcasts that zero in on the college sports world. Now available in the Varsity Podcast Network and part of the new Varsity app. The app is free and available from wherever you get your favorite apps. Download the Varsity app today to have access to hundreds of national podcasts as well as your favorite team-focused podcasts. The Varsity Podcast Network, now available for free on the Varsity app. Download from the App Store and listen today.
Which schools will take home the prestigious Learfield Directors Cup as the top college athletic programs for the 2024-25 college athletic season? You can follow the standings of your favorite team or alma mater at L Directors Cup on Twitter and online at thedirectorscup.com. Trophies will be awarded in June 2025 to the winning institutions in all college sports divisions. Learfield Directors Cup, the crowning achievement in college athletics.
Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers back with you. College Sports Now, wherever you podcast, the audio version, 3D Dingers on Twitter, on X. Make sure you follow us. Help us build the YouTube page. We're live right now. Dugouts, Dumbbells, Dingers on YouTube. Subscribe. You'll get updates when we go live, like right now, because live from High Point, it's Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers. Did you watch any of this Saturday Night Live stuff that's been going on with the 50th anniversary?
I did not. I have not watched any of that yet. It's honestly too late for your boy. All right. I went a little hard in the paint on Saturday night. I drove up to Richmond. My friends had a Mardi Gras party. That was the latest I've stayed up in quite some time on a Saturday. And,
dude, you've changed, man. All you do is talk about how you're hungover and how you drink and party and go hard. That's all you ever do anymore, man. You've changed. What a role reversal.
Not even close to.
Now you're talking about not wearing anything but a polo to go do some public address announcing. I mean, you're a provocative individual, man. This intoxicating behavior is going to start rubbing off on our audience.
All right? It gets the people going.
All right. I hear you got a dude trifecta. Why don't you unveil?
I have a dude trifecta. That's correct. I couldn't pick between all three of these guys because they were all doodly, and I needed to give them their rightful dudeness of the week. All right? So we're going to start with two boys from the Lobos of New Mexico. How about that? We got Jordy Auriak and Achille Karras. All right? Not Achilles. Achille.
Bless you. Okay.
Achoo. So Jordy Auriak hit 545 over the week, 2 homers, 7 runs batted in, and then his boy Achille Karras hit 550 for the Lobos with 11 RBIs this past week. They combined to have 6 doubles and only 2 strikeouts in a 4-gamer against Northern Colorado, which New Mexico split with Northern Colorado. They lost the first 2, won the last 2. These two teams combined to score 93 runs in the series, which is an average of 24 runs per game. That was an offensive absolute surge between New Mexico and Northern Colorado, but Jordy Auriak and Achille Karras stood above the rest for the Lobos for me. And then, Shass, we have the next iteration of Grant Knipp, all right? He has left us and embodied his soul, or infused his soul with one Jet Music. All right, which also all-name team immediately. That guy absolutely on the all-name team. I mean, he might be on the all-Shass team. I don't know.
I'm going to see him this weekend.
Yes, you are. So you'll be able to tell for yourself. Jet Music, he in the midweek for Campbell against ECU as part of an 0-for-4 week for the Pirates. Campbell's Jet Music drives in the go-ahead run, then comes in from left field to pitch and strikes out the last 5 men he faces in the midweek win over ECU. Grant Knipp is now Jet Music. All right. We didn't get Grant Knipp on the podcast. I think we might have to get Jet Music on the podcast.
You know, if Jet Music's hair was just a tad longer as I look at his player page, he would be Joe Dirt.
Yes.
I may slip this weekend on the Georgia Southern Sports Network, powered by Learfield, for a 3-game set against Campbell at Jim Perry Stadium. By the way, Jim Perry's brother is Gaylord Perry, a Hall of Famer. Jim Perry also won a Cy Young in his 17 seasons across Major League Baseball. Just some of the fodder, some of the stories to tell throughout this coming weekend. But Jet Music, I may give a Joe Dirt reference because certainly has the swagger to him. The Clayton, North Carolina native and freshman and 2-way player. Yeah, one of the best names. His middle name, can you guess his middle name? It is not as
Cord?
Cool. No. Oh. Jet Cord Music? That would be sweet.
Yeah.
It's Ryan.
Ah.
Yeah.
It would be better if his name was Jack Ryan Music. That'd be cool.
Ooh, that would be. That would be. Okay.
Anyways, tip that Audi cap that you're wearing to somebody this week, Shass.
I'm going to tip it to Charleston baseball. You had sent me this.
Yeah.
I had seen it already. But thank you, because it reminds me when we send these notes back and forth. And if I don't reply and if I don't give you a reaction, just know I don't have time for you at this moment.
Oh, I know.
However,
I pummel your DMs with everything I see because I know at some point you're going to look at it. I don't care when you look at it. I just put it in your brain, in your eye holes to see at some point.
All right, Charleston baseball names the first GM in Division I college baseball that is a female. First female GM. Hat tip to Charleston baseball and Chad Holbrook for pulling the trigger on somebody who really was the baseball Debo to this point, director of baseball operations, handling a lot of the budget stuff, the coordination, the travel, the meals, a lot of all of these things. But Sam, let's go with Jormand. Sam,
I think
Jormand.
That's right.
Would be how I would pronounce it. Gjormand. Wow, I might have pronounced something correctly on the first try, even when it's a word salad on the front end. Sam Jormand, one of 31 females on a Division I baseball staff. So hat tip to Charleston baseball and Chad Holbrook for making this happen. A woman who has put herself in this position. Certainly, I think she was a GA or an assistant at one time at JMU. I was reading through the story. I'd done some other MLB-related type programs to help prepare her for this moment, and had already been on staff at Charleston. She's got the promotion. First female general manager in Division I college baseball. That is Sam Jormand.
100%. Absolutely agree with you there. Great pick by you for your hat tip. I'm going to share my screen again to show you my hat tip for this week. So let me stand by. We're going to Texas because it's at Lamar, but we're talking about the Bison of North Dakota State for this week's hat tip. So let me just share my screen real quick.
Share it, damn it.
Here we go. There it is. All right, we're full screen, and here it is.
Could be playable.
Look at this bullpen catcher getting out of the way to allow his teammate to make an incredible catch going up against the bullpen wall, third base side. Bullpen catcher. There you see it one more time. He goes out of his way to get out of the way and allow his man to make the third out of the inning. That bullpen catcher, Noah Gordon, who gets out of his way. So I tip my cap to the bullpen catcher for NDSU, Noah Gordon, who actually homered in the first of the two midweeks on Tuesday against Lamar. This play was on Wednesday against Lamar for the Bison's bullpen catcher, Noah Gordon. So that's my hat tip to him.
You know, we talked about the nostalgia of playing ball in the house with our new partner, Borgo Balls, and the collab we got with Blake and his brothers. The nostalgia being a bullpen catcher, which was life's mission for me for 4 years of my life during high school. I didn't get many opportunities to get on the field, political reasons and others. You know, I still hold a grudge. Certainly, it wasn't that I was not as gifted. Of course not. However, as a bullpen catcher, never did I have a moment as grand as that from Noah Gordon over the weekend, where it was like a bomb or a Molotov cocktail was getting thrown your way. You were just jumping out of the way like a little bonsai action and taking cover. I mean, that really hit close to home. Great nostalgia there. I have never emulated that specific situation before, but I know everything that was going through Noah's mind, trying to allow for his teammate to come in and make the play and not be a hindrance in any sort of way. So good on Noah Gordon and the Bison. We have now eclipsed our quota for North Dakota State talk for the entire college baseball season. Colin.
Yes. They're 1-6, I'm pretty sure. We're done with them.
I don't want to hear another peep from Fargo and NDSU here moving forward because they're dead to me, okay? North Dakota State is dead to me.
I know.
If you know, you know. You didn't want to talk about the cannoli Mark Light Shake that I typed in for you?
That's the SDA. Calm down, brother.
Okay, well, tell me about it. Sorry.
What? Listen, this is what's up, brother. It's the cannoli shake, the Mark Light cannoli shake. All right. I'm sharing my screen one more time because I'm enjoying doing this. I think this is cool. So we're going to share our screen again. Here comes.
Man, we're just busting out all the toys, man. We're just
We're
just busting everywhere. We're doing live streams. We're doing screen shares. I mean, we're like Busta Rhymes on you.
So I already shared the Bash Brothers graphic earlier, but here is the cannoli Mark Light Shake. They tweeted it out when Canes baseball plays a New Jersey team. It can only mean one thing. The cannoli shake is back as they welcome the Princeton Tigers. It's vanilla ice cream, vanilla syrup, ricotta cheese, mascarpone cheese, chocolate chips, a cannoli shell served with a full cannoli while supplies last. Let me tell you what, Kyle Schassburger, if I was in Coral Gables this past weekend, there wouldn't be any cannoli shakes left. I would have eaten all of it. I would have gone in the back and said, give me the icing, and just taken it to the face. All right?
Okay.
That's how much I love cannolis and cannoli icing. So incredible job, SDA Mark Light Shakes, who've been churning out some incredible flavors this year, and they'll continue to do it all season.
I'm going to fall on this sword. I'm going to die on this hill. I am
no.
going to die on this cannoli. But let me just say, really the main SDA, social display of affection for me over the past week, was hockey. And hockey being the true winner. You had the Four Nations final between the U.S. and Canada. Love people that had no idea what hockey ever was or ever could be and had never watched, don't understand the sport, just all of the hype for a game that appeared out of thin air. And every pro sport trying to figure out their all-star weekend and all-star festivities, but hockey nails it with the Four Nations face-off. Just exhilarating television in a week of build-up and a short week and a half tournament. It was amazing. And everything that you saw on social, from the hype videos to the tributes to the Miracle on Ice, images from what happened in real life to the Disney movie and everything. I mean, it was spectacular. And then you had Rob Ray, even unrelated, but hockey related, the Sabres on ice reporter who takes a puck to the face for, it wasn't the first time, apparently, maybe the second time, with a very audible F-bomb that was dropped. And why would you not drop an F-bomb after getting hit in the face with a puck behind the bench? But it was all caught on camera, his reaction, and on microphone. It was great. And really that is, affectionate only because you continue to put yourself in that position because you love hockey so much and you love what you do. And even after getting struck by a puck once, you continue to go down there, and sure enough, it found you again. The puck just seems to find you, my friend. And for David Kahn, the cannoli just continues to find him. And I remember when he brought me one from New Orleans, and I'm looking at this thing and I'm tasting it, and I just can't get an egg roll out of my head because it resembles an egg roll. And I love egg rolls. And then I take a bite out of it, and it's like got this cream and this puff. And was there ice cream? Like, no ice cream because you couldn't fly with that on a plane. But I don't know what's in it. I didn't like it. I'm not going to write home about it. I don't understand.
I will say
I'm not a cannoli man.
It went through a plane. It was like 3 days old. So you didn't get the fresh cannoli feel. I will say that. You need to have next time you go back to Chicago, all right, get you a cannoli, okay? You'll be fine.
And when I go back to Chicago, I'm in it. Accelerated show coming up next week because we're going to Greenville. Bye.